To make consistent, high-quality videos on YouTube, you need to have a dialed-in preparation routine. Lights, stands, tripod, backdrop, audio, and more all need to be set up right every time you shoot. And that's what we're going to cover in this video right now. Hey, it's Gord here. Welcome. If it's your first time here and it's your passion to make great videos, become a ninja at video editing and learn more tips on how to succeed with video and marketing on YouTube, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. Let's dive in. Before you hit the record button, you want to be sure that your setup is consistent with what you had set up the last time you did a recording. So as you can see here, I have 5 lights. I've got 2 lights, a main and a key light. I got 2 lights lighting my backdrop, which is a green screen, and 1 light is sort of a hair light backlight. So all of these elements need to be consistent each time you shoot. So with the tripod and the stands, you know, as you can see, I've got little markers on the ground, sort of like little pieces of tape that show me where the center of it is. But as you can see, there's different angles and distances, and I also got markings under the tripod feet so that you can see exactly where it's set up. And there's angles for all of these things, and so many lights turned on the back of each. So you have to know all the details, because if you take down your setup and you need to put it back up again, and you want it to look exactly the same, then you need to detail all of these things in your own little checklist. So for me, not only do I have the heights of each of these stands measured, and the angles and the distances from the backdrop, for example, or in the case of my tripod from where I am in my sitting position. If you see here where I'm sitting, my actual line of sight to the camera is perfect to get me in the frame the way I want to be. My microphone is set up with a nice 45-degree angle, and my backdrop is about 3 feet behind me. Given the size of my room, this is the best that I can do. But my chair has markings on the ground exactly where it is. Likewise, the little table stand where my microphone is in a precision place. So all the elements come nicely together, and I know I'm going to get a consistent shot each time. Before you record, you also need to be sure that the lights are all set up the way you want them to be, and that it's consistent each time you go to shoot. Right now, I'm kind of dark because my camera's set up with the right kind of lighting based on when the studio lights are on, and I'm using manual mode. So I need to get these room lights off because they're the wrong light color and not focused on me, and there's not enough light. So here I go. Now you see me with all the studio lights on, but I also still have the room lights on, and you need to be sure that the room lights, which are a different color temperature more than likely, unless you have fancy daylight bulbs that can match the color of what is coming out of your soft boxes like I have, you need to turn off those lights. There we are. Now we're all set. We have just the studio lights on. There's no extraneous room lights. There is no light from outside because all the windows that were there have the blinds closed, and we are just working with studio lights. This is what you want, to be sure that the lights are all dialed in. Be sure that all the device levels are set at the appropriate levels before you hit the record button. So for example, be sure that the audio is dialed in right, and oftentimes if you have the ability to plug in a set of headphones to monitor the sound, do that and check it before you record. And likewise, be sure that if you have softbox lights or whatever you have, that the right number of switches are on if you have multiple bulbs, and it's consistent from shoot to shoot. And of course, we can't forget the fact that everything we record goes on a chip. So in my case, I have the SD cards, and I always need to be sure that I'm going to have more than enough storage on the card I stick in, or have a backup to use to cover whatever number of clips and length of time I need to record. So always have spare memory cards handy. If you have a flip or touch screen on your camera, be sure that you're able to confirm that the focus is dialed in nicely and the lighting and framing of your shot is perfect. And then you want to get that consistent again from shoot to shoot. To minimize the ambient noise in the environment, you want to be sure that you turn off things that can contribute noise that you don't want. So in other words, unwanted sounds like your heating and air conditioning or a washer, dishwasher or dryer. These kind of things can be in the room. Plus, you might want to be sure about the time of day that you're shooting, because just in case it's a time where you have high traffic volume and, other noises outside like lawnmowers and, kind of seasonal stuff. Be sure you turn the cell phone off, because it can create all kinds of unwanted interruptions like phone rings or notifications for text messages, because you don't want that stuff to interrupt your recording. Hey, I got a few more cool things to cover in this high-quality video preparation routine checklist. But before I go there, please remember to grab my Better Videos from Home free guide by clicking on the YouTube card displayed above. In this guide, you'll find not only the checklist related to this video, but a ton more information on video cameras, audio, and lighting. Now let's continue where we left off. Before you start recording, you need to be sure that all your electronic devices have ample power to last the recording session. So I have a bunch of my devices here that I may use for an in-studio shoot or outside or in another location outside of my studio. So first off, I have my lav mic here, and it's got a nice long 20-foot cord, but it uses this little tiny, flat silver battery. And you need to be sure with these guys that, you turn on there's an on-off switch. For my mic, you need to be sure that you turn that off after, or you could come back and the battery's done. So it's very important that you test also the lav mic before you record, because the last thing you want is it to go off in the middle of the session. And there are no indicator lights on the one I have, so I wouldn't really know. So you have to test it up front. Next is my Zoom H5 external recorder, which I love, and I use this to do my shooting, the sound recording with my DSLR. And this sucks batteries, pretty quickly. And I always make sure that when I'm down to about the last 2 bars that I replace them, and I use AA's for that. So you need to be sure that that's well prepared. Next, I have my cell phone and my iPad. And, both of these, use wall plug-in chargers. And you need to be sure that those units are ready. And my iPad I use for teleprompter application. So I always need to be sure that that's ready. The good news is if you run into trouble and those guys are short on power, because they're USB based, I got this auxiliary power pack called RAV Power that has 1 amp, 2.1 amp, and 2.4 amp outlets. And the great thing about that is I can charge multiple devices at once, or even use the pack real time to give real time power to either a phone or an iPad or tablet in case I run out. So this is a nice gem in my collection. Next up, I have my Nikon charger. I have a Nikon D7100 DSLR, and I have 2 batteries for that. And again, here I often ensure that I have at least a quarter charge left in the battery, and have an auxiliary battery available should I run out in that shoot. Next up, I have what are called my aperture remotes. I use this to help support me focus while I'm sitting in the chair, because there's no touch screen or remote monitor that I have. I depend on this. It's sort of like a shutter release, and it does a great job. So I'm quite happy with that. And that uses AA batteries. So there's conventional batteries and rechargeable packs and wall plugging, every option imaginable. And the last item I have is my little LED light, which I use as an auxiliary on my little, Joby Gorilla Pod tripod solution to support extra light when I'm sitting in front of my desktop monitor and I want a little more light on me, or I'm sitting at a table and I want more light. So this is a great device too, and it has a pack that needs to be charged. So as you can see, there's a whole plethora of goodies that you need to have charged up, and you need to be sure that you test your recording before you press to record for the full session. And if you do that, follow these instructions, you're going to be safe. And when everything's all done, you need to remember to turn everything off, because you don't want to burn out batteries or waste too much electricity. Thank you. Wow, there sure are a lot of details to maintain in order to achieve a consistent setup for high quality YouTube video production. If you want more cool tips for video creating and you wish to create better videos from home, click on the link for my free ebook. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe icon on this page so that you can get more videos like this in the future. And thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.